Hey, welcome to Loose Change, still available on vinyl. I'm Jim Evans, thanks for joining us, and you'll be so glad you did. We have a great show. I'm really looking forward to talking to our guest, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But first, what's been going on since the last time we saw you? Greg, were you around when we had the tornado warning just a short while back? I was out at the mall at Macy's, and they made the announcement that there was a tornado warning, and they said there was an area that we could go to if people wanted, lay low for a while. So we did that, and big group of people back there, and fortunately, nothing happened. Everything went okay. And I want to commend the management at Macy's that day. They really did a nice job. So the very next day, I'm at Walmart. Well, there's a 180 for you, Macy's to Walmart. And I'm walking around, and I'm thinking, what if that situation happened here? How might that go? And it would be possibly, attention all Walmart shoppers. A tornado warning has been issued for our area. If you'd like to seek shelter, proceed directly to a safe place located in the rear of the building adjacent to the automotive department. Thank you. Brief pause. Attention all Walmart shoplifters. A tornado warning has been issued for our area. If you'd like to seek shelter, proceed directly to your designated holding cells. You know where they are. Been there, done that. And remove all the stuff you have under your clothes as well. So. And since we last talked, we had the season finale of a popular TV show. How many watched the season finale of American Idol? Yeah, me neither. How is that still on, Greg? I have no idea. You know what's still going on, though? The NBA season, the NBA finals are finally underway, and who knows when that's going to end soon here, I guess. But I was watching a Cavs playoff game a little while back up in Cleveland, and LeBron was sitting courtside with a woman. And word has been that LeBron, like so many other NBA players, has several girlfriends with a wife on the side. That's the way it goes. The Kansas City Chiefs were recently at the White House in recognition of their Super Bowl championship. Apparently, a whole team was gathered together, and the president walked in and said, who are you guys? No, nice job, guys. All right, heck with this. Where's, what's her name? Where's Taylor? I want to meet her. Greg, did you hear about you guys hear about the controversy surrounding the Chiefs kicker, Harrison Butker? Did you hear about that? He gave the commencement speech at his collegiate alma mater. And in that speech, he directed comments to a lot of the young women, all the young women in the audience, saying, basically, yeah, you don't really have to get a college degree. You should maybe be better served to get married, stay at home, raise children, and be subservient. And that obviously created a lot of blowback. However, I heard a rumor that it might pay dividends for him because now insurance company Geico, they would like him to appear in their upcoming ads as their new caveman. I guess he'd be the guy for the role, perhaps. Speaking of that, scientists, archaeologists, whatever they are, they just recently discovered what they've called an artifact that they say is 500,000 years old. It's really something. And that wasn't all. They also had discovered 2 ticket stubs to a Rolling Stones concert. So that's sweet and pop. Hey, we are right in graduation seasons, and I want to say congratulations to all of our local grads. Job well done. That includes one Madison Edwards, part of the Canfield class of 2024. In fact, after the ceremony, I was there to give her a shout out. Way to go, Maddie.
Yeah, go seniors.
Yeah.
Not me, you.
Come on now. I don't think of myself as a senior, more seasoned. Hey, speaking of Canfield, new head football coach Joe Ignazio joins us next here on Loose Change. Stick around, we'll be right back with Joe.
Supercharge your internet. Only Zoom Extreme from Armstrong combines unlimited data with whole home Wi-Fi at the fastest speeds possible. Zoom Extreme from Armstrong.
Welcome back to Loose Change. Again, I'm Jim Evans. I have the great privilege and pleasure to be joined by the new head football coach of the Canfield Cardinals, Joe Ignazio. Coach, great to see you, and thanks for coming in as always.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, it's really was really excited to hear about your appointment, and we had Coach Pav in a little down the road previously, and we talked about that, and he really campaigned for you. He really wanted you to get the job. That had mean a lot to you, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was tremendous. First of all, him asking me to be part of his staff when I left Boardman. Yeah. It was just a great fit. My kids attend Canfield schools, and my wife and I had moved out there during my tenure at Boardman, and was excited to get started with him, and I can't be more thankful.
Take over a pretty prominent program. You get the wheel now, and of course, the playoff runs under Coach Pav and two state championship appearances. One, with the title a couple of years ago, it's not like you're taking over a fixer-upper. So that's got to be really cool for you.
Right. Yeah, and he's had one of the more successful programs in the Tri-County area for better part of at least 10 or 15 years. Yeah. And it's a tremendous legacy to try to live up to, and I'm not going to try to do that. You want to try to put a twist on your program and make it your own. But obviously, there's a rich tradition of football there, and you just embrace it. The community is unbelievable. The administration's been phenomenal.
Great.
I'm familiar with a lot of the parents and kids just because my kids attend there. And a lot of them actually were classmates or friends at Boardman at one point. So it's kind of a tight-knit community, but the expectations are high, and you would expect nothing less.
That's what you want, yeah. We mentioned the state championship with football, and of course, just recently the softball team won the state title, and the baseball is always up there. Basketball, boys basketball, and girls have done really well. So, academically, Canfield's been up near the top of the poll, and you get athletics involved, and you got the great mixture there for you.
Yeah, it's a culmination of everything you want as a parent for your kids.
Yeah, sure.
Especially the academic component. And they have tremendous success there. But when you sit back, I've been very fortunate when I left Boardman, was part of Pav's state championship staff, and then my daughter plays softball, and was able to follow them and Coach Cernan's success the last 2 years, and making it to the state runner-up last year and then state championship, and they've got a tremendous team. Elena Toth's probably one of the better female athletes I've seen in the area. And it's a tribute to the type of product that Canfield schools put out.
Yeah, the bar is raised all across the board, and that really means something, doesn't it? For the whole community.
It does, and our kids know the expectation, which is really good. There's certain things that you don't have to preach to your kids. They kind of understand that and know what the expectations are, and they come ready to work. They're smart kids. And they show up every day with a tremendous effort, and you can't ask for anything more.
Yeah, and covering, Mike's teams for, almost a couple decades now. That's the one thing I always noticed. No matter what, they always played smart, always played hard.
They
hard
do.
And smart.
Yeah, and I joke with them because I've been on both ends of that, part of his staff, and then when I was at Boardman, a couple of those losses. So we have a good laugh about those things.
What... obviously, you have to put your own stamp on everything, but what maybe you have taken from him working with him?
Yeah, so he's very meticulous and attentive to detail.
Yeah.
Demanding of his staff, and holds them accountable the same way he would the kids. There's an expectation there, and it was completely Pav's program, and we understood that, and try to contribute where we can. And support him when we can. So I'm very thankful for that. I still learned a lot from him. There were things that he did with staff early on. We sat down, and one of the things I wanted to make sure he knew early on was want to continue to grow as a football coach. Even though I had that experience at Boardman for 8 years as a head coach, I never try to sit back and pretend to know everything. And it's a growth process, and I was very fortunate to have him as a head coach, and I've been very fortunate in my career to coach alongside with guys that have made an impact on my life.
For sure. When you left Boardman and then got back into Canfield. Was your plan all along to hopefully have another head coaching position, or was this just happened and?
No, not at all.
let's
In
go
fact,
with it.
I wasn't even going to get right back into coaching, and then Pav reached out, and I had been interviewing. I sat down with T.J. Parker at Fitch
Okay.
briefly, and when Pav reached out, it was a no-brainer for me just because
Yeah,
the
sure.
school's in my backyard and my kids were attending there. But more than anything else, it gave me a good couple years to be around my own children and see them experience, the successes that they've had, and just be a dad. And Pav was a big supporter of that, and that was tremendous experience for me, just how willing he was that he knew if my son was playing a middle school football game, we'd readjust the defensive portion of practice so I could get out and go see my son play. And that meant a lot.
Were you and the other guys surprised when he stepped down, or did you know that was coming?
Had no clue.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we were all a little shocked. He came in, we had our first staff meeting of the year, and the door shut, and we got a little choked up, and, our staff just spent probably the next hour reminiscing and being very thankful and thanking Pav for the opportunity. But, there was a lot of emotion in that meeting.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and then, afterwards, a lot of questions, So, yeah, it was quite surprising.
One thing I noticed about his teams over the years too is, we have great coaches. You were Boardman, and just down the line for so many years, we have such dedicated and great coaches in our area, and his staff always right there. And one of the things I really noticed was the halftime adjustments they always made, and they were at or near the top, in having success with that. In the games that I saw.
And it's a tribute to our staff, and
Yes.
I feel very fortunate that we're allowed to keep a lot of those guys. I've only had to replace 2 of them, and felt very fortunate. That starts, on the defense side of the ball with Wally Hurdley, who was at Fitch for years,
Yeah.
and came over to Canfield probably around 2017, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
He's tremendous. He's an analytic. I call him an analytic genius.
Gotta have one of those
Yeah,
guys.
I mean, he's got a tremendous math background, and just the way he attacks an offense is unbelievable, and feel very fortunate there. Angelo Seminaro, I think, is one of the best offensive line coaches I've been around.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Is going to stay on staff. And those guys were, we met after, we all got together and kind of talked our way through about who wanted to apply. And at that point, I thought it was Wally's job to have if he wanted it, obviously being there at Canfield longer than I was. And then, when he called me and said he wasn't going to take the job, they asked me to consider taking it. And I sat down with Pav, and, at that point really had not thought about it because there was just too much up in the air with teaching at Boardman. I couldn't run a football program that way and things like that. But things worked out for the best, and we've got a tremendous staff. And
you having that head coaching experience already, being a head coach is difficult enough as it is, and that will obviously help you make this transition already having had that experience. And what are the challenges that you'll take on your shoulders, organization-wise and everything we know, but just the other challenge other people, the casual fan might not know, just being a head coach?
Yeah, so when you look back at my career, it's a culmination of a lot of things. That you take that experience and you continue to build and develop and things like that. But when I took over at Boardman, we dropped from Division I to Division II.
Right.
We went from the Federal League to the All-American Conference, and
Right.
so that's experience that a lot of people don't necessarily get in their career. We built the stadium at Boardman and had some success there, and hosted the first home playoff game and things like that. Closed the old stadium, which I felt more pressure in that last game against Canton McKinley to close that stadium than probably most games that I ever coached. But those are little things that you take with you and you continue to develop. I mean, the pandemic probably gave every head coach more experience than they ever anticipated.
Yeah.
We joke, and at one point I think we had seating charts on where kids had to place their water bottles and where they had to sit or stand during the pandemic. So you take those things and the relationships along the way, good, bad, or indifferent, that work out or don't necessarily tend to work out sometimes in your career. And you just continue to build and try to move forward with a good, positive plan and hope things work out.
What will you do? I assume you will, but what will you maybe do different in this job as opposed to when you were at Boardman?
Yeah,
If you can even speak to that, I don't even know if that's.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the same coach I was when I was at Boardman. And
Right.
It's sometimes hard to say that, but you have a maturation process like anything else. One of the things we do differently is the staff meetings and the staff expectations and hold those guys accountable. And they have to grade film every night of our practice and get those clips out to our kids and things like that. Things like that I wish I would have done at Boardman. That I learned from Pav and doing that at Canfield and being required to do that as an assistant. That you take little things like that and continue to grow. From the X and O standpoint, I don't know that much different. Wally's a tremendous defense coordinator, and I trust him. Angelo Simonero's solid in the run game.
Yep.
And that kind of frees me up to do the things that a head coach sometimes needs to do, whether it's oversee staff or make sure our guys are teaching and instructing our players in the right way or holding our players accountable academically and in sports. So I feel very fortunate with the guys that we have in place.
Yeah, I'm sure, for sure. We're going to take a break, and then we'll be back with Joe Ignazio right after we do this here on Loose Change. Back with Joe Ignazio, the new head football coach, the Canfield Cardinals, and you had mentioned about teaching at Boardman. You were a sixth grade teacher at Boardman.
Sixth grade my entire career until this year. Yeah, sixth grade.
That'll prepare you for anything.
Science and social studies. Yeah, I went. Like I told you, most people you tell that you've taught sixth grade for more than 20 years, they look at you like you're crazy. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. I always said I wasn't going to leave the classroom, but this opportunity presented itself, and there were some emotions involved with me leaving and had to put in my resignation. I always thought I'd spend my career at Boardman, but it was just part of the growth process for me professionally. And I was at peace with it. Facing the people that you've seen every day, some of them for 20 years or more, was tough, the last couple days.
Sure.
And but I'll be close with those people forever, and we'll stay in contact.
So your new position, you'll be assistant athletic director.
The assistant athletic director, yeah.
Talk about that, what that might entail. Bob Beam's the new AD, correct?
Bob Beam is the new athletic director, and have a nice relationship with Bob. Bob and I went to school together. In fact, going back years ago, his dad was a Boardman policeman. My dad was a Boardman fireman. And they played softball together, so we used to run around the field together playing as kids. But have stayed close with him over the years, and it was nice to have. It's just crazy the way things work out.
For sure.
Yeah, and it's great to see him. He's going to do a phenomenal job, and I'll just try to alleviate some things for him and take things off his plate. And but I know he'll do a tremendous job.
He had done so several places, but most recently at Springfield, and I know he did a great job over there. And he succeeds the great Greg Cooper. What a phenomenal guy he has been for that program over there.
Greg's been phenomenal. Very often when he wasn't the AD, would stop my daughter. I think he was substitute teacher sometimes at Canfield, and he'd comment about me coaching and getting to Canfield and things like that, and always appreciative. And then when Mike Cochran stepped down, Coop took over the interim, and Canfield schools are very fortunate to have him in place. And he's been willing to see Bob and I into the transition as long as it takes, and kind of mentor at least me through that, and but be a shoulder to lean on. He's been tremendous.
That's great, for sure. You opened the season with West Branch, is that correct? And
we do, on the road.
Another competitive schedule, as they always have. But that's what you want, And you know about competitive schedules.
Oh yeah, going back to my years of Boardman, we'd open up with Menor, and in West Branch, what a tremendous run they just had in the state baseball
Yes.
tournament. And
Congratulations to them.
yeah, one of my coach's daughters dates one of the baseball players, so I shot him a text just to wish him and his staff congratulations, and he reached back out and said thank you. So, yeah, but they're a tremendous program, up-tempo offense, and our kids are going to have their hands full being on the road week one. They have everybody back except the quarterback, and they're going to be extremely talented this year.
Just looking at your schedule, I saw the last 3 out of 4 weeks you're at home, and then they have that open, I think, week 8. That's probably not going to be filled, I assume. It's kind of hard at this point to.
Yeah, we're
somebody
trying.
Yeah.
In fact, even Struthers reached out at one point. We talked about opening it up possibly on August 19th.
Oh, okay.
The Monday of opening week, but we play Friday, and logistically it was just too tough to work out. And then there was a team that East had scheduled, Richmond Heights, I believe, that canceled their season, and we thought maybe East would be willing to switch the game with Struthers. That way it would open up week 8 and then play Struthers week 8, but it hasn't been able to be worked out. But yeah, I've been calling. We've been in contact with teams all the way up to Michigan and things like that. So we're hoping to fill it and find someone.
That's not as easy as people think. You're the casual fan. Oh, how come they don't play this day? How they don't? It's like it doesn't work that way, does it? I mean, it's a challenge sometimes.
It is. It is. I mean, you go through athletic directors, and then coaches have the way to run their programs and things like that. And sometimes they don't feel certain games and leagues and things like that are a fit for their program and where they're at. It is what it is. We'll try to fill it. If we don't, we've actually had a bye week the last 2 years, which is state championship year. It was tremendous because we kind of got rested, recouped, and then made that run, and it was phenomenal. And our kids really appreciated it. Just taking a week off from banging around and getting worn down, but we'd obviously like to fill it from the standpoint of putting people in the seats and providing Canfield with the opportunity to see us play.
Yeah. I was going to circle back around to the state championship run. What was that experience like for you? That's really something because so few schools and people get a chance to experience that.
Yeah, you're just appreciative for the community and the kids more than anything else.
Right.
I never took it as like a personal accolade. I mean, a little bit of it, you sit back and reflect on your career, and it gets you a little emotional when things settle in, and I don't know if they ever really settle in. I mean, every year Pat will shoot out a text and remind us the day that we won it and things like that. And a couple of our guys on staff got married, and we made sure to wear our state championship rings to the weddings and things like that. But, it makes you feel good from the standpoint of, there's some validity to what you've been doing over the years.
Absolutely.
You're on the right page, and you're good for kids and things like that. And that's probably what I took away most from that, other than the relationships of all the hard work and sacrifice behind the scenes with the staff. It was good to celebrate with them and embrace them and enjoy that with them.
Now, you've said this before, as all other coaches do, but it boils down to the kids and what you can do for them and help mold them along the way as young men and, along with athletics and academics. And it comes down to what you can do for them.
It does. If you look across the state at the X and O's part of it, every team runs any system of offense and defense. Is just, can you get your kids to execute what you believe the plan is?
Yeah.
And that's really the key. Can you get them to buy in and execute at a level that will attain success?
Yeah.
And that's tough. Kids are pulled in 5 million different directions anymore.
Right, yeah.
They all want to be on their cell phones all the time, and they're influenced by, things that might not necessarily be what's good for your program and things like that. But, I joke with our guys, it's great that you can go on social media and watch a guy make this unbelievable catch one time, but I need you to do that 80 times or 50 times in a season, Yeah. So, they understand that, and our kids respond.
Will you do much? I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that whole thing. But will you just add on to things that you've done, Pav did previously, scheme-wise, or is it going to be business as usual and just build from there?
What our kids were familiar with a little bit, but kind of add our own twist and things like that. But I'm a firm believer, like Pav was, of being a balance in run and pass.
Yep.
And in fact, a few years ago, they did a study, and, the more outside of 12 to 15 reps you throw the ball, the more likely you were to lose a football game.
Okay.
And when you see higher increase in passes, and typically means you're behind anyway, and trying to
Right.
play catch up and things like that. So, yeah, we'll have a balance on offense. Obviously, we want to be firm in the run game. I don't know that the concepts have changed much from when I was at Boardman. We were a Dave or power team, and
Okay. Yeah.
threw a little couple wrinkles in there and things like that. But, from the X and O standpoint, more than anything else, the terminology will change.
Who are just maybe a few kids, coming in that you're going to look forward to leading the way and being key?
Yeah, so we did a spring combine this year where we had close to 60 college coaches. I think we had 58 college coaches show up to watch our kids work out. And we had pumped them up, and, it was their chance to work in front of all these college coaches. And we saw all the college coaches traveling and finding one guy all day long. It was Angelo DeLucia. Yeah, and Angelo is going to be a special football player for us, and, has a ton of offers in Division I football, and he's just trying to find the right fit for him. So he'll be a two-way starter for us. And then we've got a good core nucleus back on both sides of the ball. So up front, A.J. Huco is going to be a junior that started for us at guard last year. Landon Shina is going to return. He played Sam linebacker for us last year, and some tight end. We'll have a battle at quarterback between Tyler Sharon and Enzo Coca, and a couple young guys that are going to battle it out there. But we're going to be young and experienced in a lot of key positions. So we've got to find some depth, find it early, and get those guys on the same page and the experience we think that will lead us to wins on Friday night.
Every team sets goals. What goals maybe have you set for yourself?
We always start academically, number one. I told those guys we want to maintain a 3.0 grade point average or higher. Some kids buy into that, some don't.
Yeah.
But that's at least the expectation, being a high academic school.
Absolutely.
We always want to win meaningful games throughout the year to put us in a position to play for the playoffs.
Yep.
Okay. Even with the expansion, we want to make the playoffs and make a deep run, if not to the state championship in football. That has always been a goal. It should always be a goal. Our hard work in June and July and August are attributions to that, and our kids have bought into those things, so they know that those are our goals.
How do you feel about the 16-team playoff format now? Is that okay with you, or
Yeah,
you're on the other side?
I'm okay. I mean, but we're not basketball, where I think eventually it looks like they want to lead to everyone makes it, and I don't know if it works differently in football. Right. When you look at some of the matchups the first week of the playoffs, when you've got pretty good teams against teams that have losing records, it might be good financially for a school system and things like that, but from a football perspective, I have a little bit different outlook on that. I don't know that it's the best thing for us. Yeah. I think maybe 8 teams would be great. Maybe even, I don't know.
I got to say that I was really excited again, as I mentioned, about you getting this opportunity, and they made the right choice. So appreciate you coming in, Joe.
Thank you, Jim.
Great to see you.
It's always a pleasure.
Hopefully we're going to, we have you on the radio side. I know one game for sure, but hopefully we're going to be able to add another 2 in the regular season and catch you postseason. So
Sounds good.
Best of luck.
Always great being here.
Joe Ignazio, and we'll be back to wrap it up right after this.
Supercharge your internet. Only Zoom Extreme from Armstrong combines unlimited data with whole home Wi-Fi at the fastest speeds possible. Zoom Extreme from Armstrong.
Unfortunately, we're out of time, but that's going to do it for our show. Thanks so much to Canfield head football coach Joe Ignazio. Best of luck to he and the Cardinals and all of our football teams. I'm sure we'll be getting into that here before you know it. Congratulations again to all of our local grads, and best of luck to everyone. Thanks as always to Ray Roten and to all of you for watching. Again, catch us on YouTube, right? Let's go to Armstrong. Loose Change. Catch that there. I'm Jim Evans, and we'll catch you next time here on Loose Change. Do you want me to leave?